This is the second video on color chart items, and the first one we went into a little more detail about creating a color chart item. This particular one, we're going to focus on an item which is going to be costed and priced out per room, per house area. The first one was about, again, hardwood flooring, but it was priced per calculated area, takeoff, or square footage, square meters, whatever you want to call it, and with a universal price, a fixed amount per square foot, per square meter. But this particular one, we're going to price per room, we're going to cost it out per room, and then we're going to have the price automatically updated based upon a markup. I'm going to start here in color chart items. As we scroll down the list of the various color chart items we have, I have created one. And let me just do a search. It was called our best hardwood upgrade ever. So I've got levels 1 and 2, and I want to create level 3. So if the simple way to do this is using a copy function. In the first video, we demonstrated using the workbook, and that's how to create a whole list of items. But the quickest and easiest way, if you can, you just need to create 1 or 2, is to go up here and copy to new item. This tool will just take whatever we've got, make the small adjustment that we want to make to it. In our case, we're going to call it upgrade level 3. It doesn't have variants, so this is grayed out. It doesn't have BOM components, so this is grayed out, but it is going to copy the house areas. I'm going to click OK, and it tells us it's been completed, and here it is. So the first thing we should do is not just accept that it worked, but actually have a look at what it did. In our situation, you can see the category code is flooring. What this means is that this item, along with any other item in this category, will be presented to the customer service person who's processing the selection package for the house areas that it's tied to. So I'm going to click in these house areas, and you can see that these are the house areas that this flooring is allowed to be installed. Now, I could, for instance, say, no, I won't have it in the foyer. I'll just take that out, and that's fine. And so from now on, when I push this thing out to models, it won't be available in that area. What you'll see down here is I've got a designation of single item. And so that just means it stands by itself. It's not a bundle component or anything else. You can see that it's not a base contract. It is a color chart. It's an upgrade. And in our case, it expects a charge. So this is going to be for an extra. It's not standard. You can also see that it belongs to this task. So when you're in the task management, once you've released the selection package, it will appear as a planning line, and the site super will be able to see that. I have entered a default vendor and contract number. You don't have to do this. If you don't do it, then you will want to enter the vendor contract later on the phase item list. It's a little quicker if you do this here. It automatically creates the contract for you. The key difference between this and the first video is that we're going to price per model, house area, and we're not going to price based upon a measurement. We're going to price based upon the item itself. The rest of the information is about taxing and classification of reports. You can see that this item doesn't exist anywhere as yet, and we're just about to fix that right now. Let's go push this item to the model, and then we can go and cost it up. System says, all right, which models do you want to push it to? I'm going to say, let's select a few more. We'll choose them all, and then we'll deselect overhead and temporary. We're not interested in having it here. And let's go ahead and push the item. If it has any error messages, it will tell us, and we'll have to work through them. But in our case, it's just fine. These don't get updated immediately. You have to actually refresh the screen. And the easiest way to do that for us is to just go back a screen, and here we are. You can see the item has created, the action has created one phase item, 28 model items, and it's added it to a vendor contract. If I had not entered an existing vendor contract, it would have just created one for us as well. But in our situation, I said just add it to an existing one. Let's quickly have a look at the model items. And what I'm going to show in here is that you can see for each of the house areas against each of the models aren't actually shown on this page here. We'll look at that in the next screen. I want to have this structure. These haven't costed anything as yet, and we haven't indicated a profit. So you don't have to do the profit calculation now, but let's just do that here. We're going to set the markup, but I'm going to set it on everything. So I'm going to select all of the items. That was Control A that I clicked there. And I'm going to click on Actions and set the markup. And let's just set it for a markup of 2. When I click OK, the system tells me, OK, we set this markup for 28 records. And there it is. That's going to be a profit margin of 50%. Let's come out of here and let's go and have a look at our contract. So when we go to, I'm actually going to go right to the contract here. And if you remember, it was Padberg World Flooring. And this was the contract number. I have a bunch of contracts against this, but this is the one that I asked it to populate. So let's go and have a look at it. I'm going to click into current prices, and I've got all these other items in here. So this isn't just, this isn't the only thing that's being priced. And as I scroll down the list, I can see, okay, there's the level 1s, here's the level 2s, and here are the level 3s. So you can see that the models are entered over here. And for each of these models, we have a series of house areas that the item can belong in. You'll notice that, for instance, Mars, the Mars model has just 3 bedrooms. But we said that this particular item was allowed to exist in more than 3 bedrooms. So up here in the Jupiter model, which does have a 4th bedroom, it created the line. So you have to have the house area on the item, and it then compares it to the house area list on the model, and it will take a mixture of those two to calculate whatever it is. We could, of course, just enter the costs in here into the unit cost, and that's fine. But then let's talk about how the import and export to Excel works. It's a lot easier to use that when you're populating major numbers of quantities and costs. So I'm just going to export this, and it goes and puts out a file. There it is. I'm going to go over to my other screen and open that up and drag it over to this screen here. So this is what it built for us. You should not play around too much with this sort of structure, like you can't change these, otherwise the system won't recognize the import, but you can do the following things. So I've just clicked somewhere in this in the title bar of this area, and I'm going to click on Format as Table. When I do that, the system says, okay, you've got a bunch of lines here and you've got headers. So I click on yes, that's great. So what that allows me to do is do some easy filtering and easy sorting. I'm also going to hide these. I'm not going to delete them. I'm just going to hide them just so that I can see everything a little more clearly. And what I want to do is I want to only look at the costing for this new upgrade item that I've got. So it is the best hardwood level upgrade level 3. So let's click OK. And now I'm only looking at the costs for that. So let's go price up the primary bedroom first. And so I've got 2 filters in here, and the vendor who's going to do the work has told us, okay, if the customer upgrades to this, I don't care what the model is, it's always $2,000 to do this house area. That's great. And then if I show the rest of them, they might turn around and say, well, I'll do the rest for $1,200. Now, of course, you can set all the prices that you need to set. I'm using Control V and Control C to copy and paste, just standard Excel functions. And I'm just going to release those filters. And you can see I've got a couple of different prices in here. And I can now release the filters for everything and to bring us back to the standard. I don't need to unhide for this to work, and I don't need to remove this table structure. I'm just going to close this Excel sheet down and save it. Let's import that information. So I'm going to go over and find my file, drop it in here. The system will read it, and it will go and update. So let's go and have a look at what it did. If we scroll down, level 1, level 2, level 3, and you can see that the prices that I entered have been automatically populated in here nice and quickly. Let's go and have a look at what it did on the sales pricing. So I'm going to come back out of the contract, and you can look at pricing in a bunch of ways. We can look at it in the model, but I find it a little easier just to stay in the color chart item. And let's go and do that search again. And here we go, level 3. Let's look at the model items in here. And as I scroll to the right-hand side, you can see that I asked for a 50% margin, and you can see that it's provided those margins over here. So everything is as I would expect, and let's go and process one of these items within our color chart selection. I'm going to go into my lots here, and I'm going to go to lot number 4. That's the one I was working on before. I've already created a selection package for it. Here it is, and I'm going to click into the choices. I just haven't finished setting it up. So I populated this automatically, and now the system is asking me to go through and make sure the entries work. So let's go into our primary bedroom and have a look at flooring, and I should now see, okay, good, here it is. It's priced it up, it's at $4,000. I'm happy with that, and let's just pick that item. You'll notice immediately it prices it, turns the whole line black, because that's all the information it needed. I could have added variants. It would be very easy to do. It doesn't have to change the costs. It's only if you choose price per variant on the item card itself. And then I could have made it so that I can choose a different color. In my case, I didn't feel as though it was necessary to do that. Now I may want to turn into, not do some setup, but just maple flooring if I want to have that information there. And then as I go and create the work orders, the trade will see what I've asked them to do. So that's it. I've got a price in here. I've made my selections, and that was just a quick and easy way to add an extra upgrade level. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you find the system valuable.